The Tet Offensive was one of the largest military campaigns of the Vietnam War, launched on January 30, 1968, by forces of the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese People's Army of Vietnam against the forces of the South Vietnamese Army of the Republic of Vietnam, the United States, and their allies. It was a campaign of surprise attacks against military and civilian commands and control centers throughout South Vietnam. The name of the offensive comes from the Tet holiday, the Vietnamese New Year, when the first major attacks took place. The North Vietnamese launched a wave of attacks in the late night hours of the 30th of January in the 1st and 2nd Corps tactical zones of South Vietnam. This early attack did not lead to widespread defensive measures. When the main North Vietnamese operation began the next morning, the offensive was countrywide and well coordinated. Eventually, more than 80,000 North Vietnamese troops striking more than 100 towns and cities, including 36 of 44 provincial capitals, 5 of the 6 autonomous cities, 72 of 245 district towns, and the southern capital. The offensive was the largest military operation conducted by either side up to that point in the war. Though initial attacks stunned both the U.S. and South Vietnamese armies, causing them to temporarily lose control of several cities, they quickly regrouped, beat back the attacks, and inflicted heavy casualties on North Vietnamese forces. During the Battle of Hue, intense fighting lasted for a month, resulting in the destruction of the city by U.S. forces. During their occupation, the North Vietnamese executed thousands of people in the massacre at Hue. Around the U.S. combat base at Khe San, fighting continued for 2 more months. Although the offensive was a military defeat for North Vietnam, it had a profound effect on the U.S. government and shocked the U.S. public, which had been led to believe by its political and military leaders that the North Vietnamese were being defeated and incapable of launching such an ambitious military operation. U.S. public support for the war declined and the U.S. sought negotiations to end the war. The term Tet Offensive usually refers to the January to February 1968 offensive, but it can also include the so-called mini-Tet offensives that took place in May and August.